The chandeliers glittered like constellations frozen in crystal, scattering light across the Whitmore Estate's grand dining hall. Long tables groaned under the weight of roasted lamb, towers of fruit, silver bowls of potatoes, and vintage wine. The air was heavy with roses, hundreds of them, arranged for show, masking the stench of arrogance that filled the room. I stood at the edge, clutching a silver tray stacked with steaming dishes. My hands trembled, though not from weight, from humiliation. "Isabella," my mother's voice rang out, smooth and sharp, cutting through the polite chatter. "Don't just stand there. Serve the food. At least be useful for once." A ripple of laughter followed. Daniel, my older brother, raised his glass high. "Careful, everyone. Isabella's not known for balance. If she serves you, protect your lap." The dining hall roared with amusement. Heat surged up my neck, shame clawing through my chest. I lowered my eyes, forcing my feet to move. The tray wobbled as I served roasted lamb to guests who eyed me with the same condescension as one might reserve for a clumsy waitress. "Over here, Isabella!" Aunt Margaret snapped her fingers. "Potatoes, quickly now. Some of us are starving." Another wave of laughter. Another slash across my pride. I wanted to scream, to hurl the tray into their smug faces, to remind them that I was blood, not servant. But years of silence bound my tongue. Then a warm hand covered mine, steady, anchoring. Adrian, my husband. In one smooth motion, he took the tray from me and set it down on the table with deliberate care. The laughter sputtered, confused. He laced his fingers through mine, and without a word, led me toward the doors. Each step he took was thunder, a defiance they couldn't laugh away. Daniel's smirk faltered. My mother's wineglass froze midair. Margaret's grin stiffened. The heavy doors shut behind us. Silence fell. Outside, the night was sharp and cold, biting at my skin. My knees wavered, but Adrian's grip held me firm. His eyes blazed, his jaw clenched tight. "You don't serve them," he said, voice low and fierce. "Not now, not ever again." Something cracked inside me, not just shame, but fury. A long-buried ember of strength sparked to life. That night, my phone buzzed endlessly. My mother, Daniel, Margaret, each name lit up like fireflies, insistent, demanding. Adrian silenced them all. "They don't deserve your words," he muttered, setting the phone face down. I sat by the window, staring at my reflection in the glass. For years, their laughter had defined me. Tonight, Adrian's defiance lit a fuse I could no longer ignore. I whispered into the dark, "They've humiliated me for the last time." The next morning, I pulled out the sketchbooks I'd hidden for years. Dust clung to the covers. Inside were pages of dreams, coats with bold cuts, dresses with flowing lines, pieces I had drawn but never dared to show. "You're really doing this?" Adrian asked from the doorway, coffee in hand. I didn't look up. "Yes." A small smile curved his lips. "Good. About time." I turned the living room into a workshop. The sewing machine rattled late into the night. At first, my fingers fumbled, pricked with needles, fabric puckered, seams unraveled. But I kept going. Every cruel laugh at that dining table replayed in my mind, fueling me. Every useless whispered by Daniel became another stitch. Every embarrassment from my mother became another seam. I bled, I cursed, But slowly, the clothes took form. Dresses sleek and daring, jackets sharp and commanding. A friend convinced me to post photos online. My heart raced as I uploaded the first one. One post turned into 10. Followers trickled in. A boutique owner messaged, then another. Orders began to flow, small at first, then steady, then overwhelming. For the first time in my life, people wanted something I created, not what my family forced from me.
1 year later, I stood at the grand opening of Isabella Hartman Designs. Banners with my name draped across the boutique. Influencers and journalists sipped champagne, cameras flashing. Adrian straightened his tie, pride shining in his eyes. "This is your night." I smiled, until I saw them. Daniel, my mother, Aunt Margaret. They stood at the edge, glittering in jewels, eyes wide with disbelief. Their laughter was gone, replaced by shock. "This is yours?" my mother stammered. "Yes," I said, steady as steel. "All mine." Daniel scoffed. "Since when do you do this?" "Since the day I stopped listening to you." The crowd hushed. My words cut through sharper than his laugh ever had. Margaret tried to recover with a sneer. "Well, I suppose all those years serving food taught you presentation." I tilted my head, smiling faintly. "No, what taught me was walking away from people who wanted me small." The audience erupted in applause. For once, their mockery diminished themselves, not me. But success attracts shadows. Months later, I discovered the sabotage. Orders canceled mysteriously, clients backing out, rumors spreading, designs leaked. I traced it back to Daniel. He'd bribed employees, spread lies that my clothes were knockoffs, and even tried to buy my suppliers out from under me. The betrayal stung, but the fury burned hotter. I refused to crumble. Instead, I worked harder, forged stronger partnerships, hired loyal staff. I used the scandal to fuel my story. The family outcast who built an empire despite sabotage. The public loved it. Orders doubled, then tripled. Daniel's plan backfired spectacularly. 3 years later, I returned to the Whitmore estate, not as their servant, not as their shame, but as its new owner. The family had fallen into debt, reckless spending, poor investments. The estate was auctioned quietly, whispers circling. I made the winning bid. When I stepped into the grand dining hall again, chandeliers glittering above, my footsteps echoed on marble that now belonged to me. My mother stood pale, Daniel seething, Margaret speechless. "You can't do this," Daniel spat. "I already did," I said coolly. "You called me a maid. Now I own the table you sat me at." Silence crashed over them, heavy and suffocating. I looked around the hall, the same hall where laughter once shredded me, and I realized something. The revenge wasn't the estate, wasn't their shame. It was the woman I had become, strong, independent, free. And as I turned to leave, Adrian at my side, I whispered the words I'd carried for years. "You don't serve them. Not now, not ever again."